ازيكم؟ انتوا جاهزين؟ اوكي. طيب انا اسمي احمد حمزاوي، طبعا سعيد جدا ان انا معاكم النهارده. كنت معاكم السنه اللي فاتت في الرياض، فالسنه اللي فاتت كلمتكم على انوفيشن وبعدين عملنا شويه ديموز. فللاسف مديري السنه دي سرق البرزنتيشن بتاعي، هو اتكلم على الانوفيشن. فالمره دي بقى انا هتكلم على حاجات ثانيه، فانا اضطريت اعمل برزنتيشن جديد. فالنهارده هكلمكم على موبile trends and predictions for 2012. فانا هديكم فكره عن what is happening globally in terms of overall trends on the mobile side, and we'll talk about some predictions for 2012. وبعد كده if we have time, I want to see how many demos I can do. I have about maybe 10 demos. We'll see how far we get. Okay. So first of all, one thing that I think is very clear these days, طبعا, when it comes to the internet, is that the mobile internet is the internet now. If you think about it, more and more people are coming online and they're using mobile phones as their first entry point to the internet. One thing that's I think an interesting statistic is that there are more smartphones being sold now than PCs, and there's been a huge growth in just tablet sales. عايز أعرف مثلا how many people here have a tablet? Wow, a lot of people. How many people have more than one cell phone? Almost everybody. How many have more than 2 cell phones? Wow, more than, you have 3. Okay, how many people have 4 mobile phones? This is like the winning group. 4? Who has 4 phones with them? You actually have, do you have them with you here? Who has them with them here? You have 4 with you? You have 4. Okay, who has 5? Anybody have 5? Do you work for Nokia, HTC, Samsung? Qualcomm. Okay, that's why. Okay, so I'm not going to ask. So except for him, anybody have more than 4? I'm curious. Mafish, huh? Okay, let's move on. Wow, very good. So the main thing, if you think about it, is that everybody's using the mobile internet these days. Over 90% when they leave home, they're using their mobile phone to check the web at least once a day. This is a really powerful statistic. If you think about it also, your phone now becomes sort of your second brain, right? This is, I think, really important. You look into this picture, and you see everybody at this train station. Most of them, they're actually using their mobile phone. And one thing to keep in mind when it comes to these mobile devices is that if you think about it, when you're actually using your mobile phone and you're searching, you're probably looking for local information. You're looking for information about businesses. You're doing some research related to where you are in terms of your location. The interesting thing with mobile, though, is once you've actually determined what you're searching for, over 80% actually in this study that we commissioned have actually decided to take an action after that, meaning you do a search for, say, a business, a restaurant, and then after that you do an action, which is you call the restaurant, you make a reservation, you make an online purchase, or you go to a store and you make a purchase. So this is something that's really important, different with mobile phones. So these are the kind of behaviors you don't necessarily see as much and as prevalent on desktop. So I don't know if you can read this, but this is an ad that we had in the London Tube. And it shows you a different mechanism that you can actually interact with the internet on your phone. So if you can read this, it says Oxford Circus, right, which is the tube stop here. And what you can do with your mobile phone, and I will give a demo of this, is you can actually talk to your phone instead of typing into your phone and take an action rather than typing in, you can just talk. And this is, if you think about it, if you think about the actual context that you have on a smartphone, the fact that it's personalized, we know who you are when you're using that phone. You'll be able to get, for example, very smart ads like this, or recommendations. So you might point your phone to a specific corner, and you might see this restaurant has a great recommendation. There might be a store that you are invited to go to because there's some sale, there's a coupon that is being offered to you. Then say you actually go to one of those stores. You decide you want to buy a pair of jeans or a printer or a computer, for example. What people are starting to do now, and this is of course a global trend, is that people are starting to do research about the product that you're purchasing in store. So for example, here you would scan the barcode of the specific item you want to research, and you might look at reviews to see, is this a good purchase, is it not? You might say, for example, well, let me compare prices and see what else is available. Maybe I don't want to purchase from this store, I want to go to another store. And more, what you're also going to see is people are going to start to prefer, rather than exchanging money, cash in their hand and paper for transactions, they're going to start using a digital wallet instead, right? And if you think about it also in some markets, say Africa, for example, there are other solutions that are digital, such as M-Pesa, where you're actually transacting person to person or person to merchant simply using your mobile phone, using, say, the actual SIM balance that you have on your device. And of course, without, this is obviously extremely obvious, but the actual mobile devices themselves are powering a new social experience. So how many people here, for example, check their Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus at least once a day on their phone? Yeah, so it's pretty much everybody, right? So there's a large behavior now that's being driven on mobile phones that is social-based. But I think more important than all of that, in terms of what you can do on your smartphone, is Angry Birds, right? So we talked about Angry Birds before, but let me show you some really interesting statistics about Angry Birds. So can you guess how many minutes of Angry Birds are played every day worldwide? Any guesses? How about over here? No guesses? 1 million? 50 million? How many? 12? Anybody in the back? 25 million? 200 million. Okay, not bad. How about this? So 300 million. That's a lot. That is a lot of time being spent every day on Angry Birds, right? So you can imagine that people are using their mobile phones as an entertainment device. But not only are they using it as a gaming device or entertainment, they're also watching a ton of YouTube, right? So can you guess how many mobile playbacks of YouTube there are every day? So how many videos are watched on YouTube on smartphones? How many do you think? Take a guess. How many? 500,000? Okay. 500,000? Anybody else? 100 million? 600? Okay, 400 million. That's a huge, huge number. And here's a very interesting statistic. Saudi Arabia is now so the mobile usage here in Saudi Arabia is growing like you wouldn't believe. Saudi Arabia now is number 2 worldwide in terms of mobile views on smartphones. So you are all watching a ton of YouTube. I will not ask what you watch, that's your own business. But you all know what you're watching, I know. All right, another interesting statistic that we have, this is a survey that we commissioned. By the way, some of these stats that I'm referring to, you can find them on ourmobileplanet.com. So OURmobileplanet.com. You can go there and you can see a lot of the different studies that we've commissioned. You can see the reports on basically smartphone consumer behavior. So this shows those that use YouTube on their mobile phone, around 3/4 of those people do that as mobile as their primary device. So with that, I want to switch over quickly, and we're going to talk about some predictions. So what do we think is going to happen in the next year? So let's talk about some of those predictions. So the first one is that, just like I was saying on the first slide, is that more than 1 billion people this year are going to be using mobile phones as their primary access to the internet. This is a huge thing. So what's going to happen, actually, we project in about 2 years, is that mobile phone usage, in terms of accessing the internet, is going to eclipse that on desktop. The second one is around this, which is that there are going to be 10 moments this year where the trending queries, about 50% of them, will be driven more from mobile than desktop. And I'll give you an example of this. So in the US, there are different events that happen every year. One is Valentine's Day. And one thing that we noticed is that the specific queries on Valentine's Day, over half of them, the trending terms for Valentine's Day related searches such as hotels and flowers and so on, were much higher on mobile than they were on desktop. And this is a new phenomenon that hasn't been happening before. So we predict this year, there are going to be 10 other moments like that around the world. And of course, in certain markets such as Africa, where there's a much more dominant usage of mobile, that is already happening. Same thing is likely happening in other markets, especially in the Middle East. The next one is around the mobile's role in driving people into stores. So what we know is anecdotally, after we've actually run surveys, we've asked people, how do you actually make an in-store purchase? Do you use a cell phone or mobile phone to better inform you to make a purchase? We have a lot of this anecdotal data. What we don't have is we don't have the rich analytics yet that can prove that a lot of the spend that is happening in store is driven from mobile phones. And so this year, we predict that there's going to be a lot of interesting data that we're going to see that is going to prove the argument that what is happening on mobile phones as it relates to in-store purchases is very valuable, and that's going to open up a whole new market. Number 4 is around mobile-driven spend. This is going to emerge as a huge category, and this is related to the previous one, which basically means that when you're actually using your phone, this is actually driving a lot of purchases. Whether it's you're actually buying a new mobile phone, you are buying applications in any of the different app stores or markets, whether you're making an in-store purchase that is initiated from your cell phone itself. This is going to be a huge category. And another one, which is very important, is the fact that over 1 million businesses this year are going to be actually creating their online presence and having a mobile-first solution. They will have a mobile-friendly website. And this is really important if you think about it. If you're talking about mobile experiences and the fact that it's very contextual, the searches that you're doing are very immediate and tend to relate to who is around you. You can imagine that as a small business, you want to target those that are actually around you. So this is going to be, I think, another important thing. And it's all about local businesses at the end of the day. Number 6 is that tablets are going to take their place as the 4th screen in people's lives. So at Google, for example, we've always looked at mobile traffic, which includes feature phones, smartphones, and tablets as one. What we've realized is that the experience on tablets is fundamentally different than how you use, say, a smartphone or a feature phone. The experience that you have, the time that you use it, is very different. Tablets tend to get used, for example, at night, weekend, when you're going back and forth from work, when you have the TV on. And this is where I think you're going to see tablets be a distinct 4th screen. The first one, of course, being TV, second PC, third smartphone, and 4th being the tablet. There's also something called a second screen experience, which a lot of movie studios are actually starting to adopt. So if you think about it, if you're watching, say, Disney movie, you're watching The Lion King, what you can do now with the second screen experience on a tablet, you can have your tablet in front of you, you're watching The Lion King, and what's happening is that the actual tablet itself is listening passively to the movie, and it can synchronize itself. So say you're watching some part of the movie, you can actually get information related to that specific scene on your tablet itself, and you can interact with it, which is a very new phenomenon that's appearing now. Number 7 is around mobile augmented reality. This is something that used to be very novel. It still is at this point to a certain extent, but this year I think you're going to start to see really good instantiations of mobile augmented reality. And this is, for example, you take your camera, you point it, say, at your living room, and all of a sudden you're having an immersive gaming experience. Or you're pointing your phone to a restaurant, and all of a sudden you see reviews overlaid on top of that, or you see who of your friends have visited before. This is, I think, the year where we're going to start to see really interesting applications of augmented reality. And then number 8 is around 5 new companies are going to get to the level of Angry Birds. Right? And what does that mean? Angry Birds is a media powerhouse. So if you think about it, mobile actually has driven the success of Angry Birds. Angry Birds did not start initially as a game on desktop. It started as a mobile-first application. To the point now, I don't know if you know this, but in 2014, there's going to be an Angry Birds movie. Right? So this is crazy. I was in Pakistan about 3 weeks ago, and I walked into a store, and they were selling little Angry Birds plush toys and mobile phone covers. It's become this huge craze around the world. And you wouldn't believe how many times Angry Birds has been downloaded so far. Any guesses how many times it's been downloaded? So it's around 600 million times. That's a huge, huge, huge number. So there are going to be other successes like that this year. We predict around 5. And I'll give you an example of one that seems to be on that trend. Who here plays Draw Something? Okay, well, not too many. So right now, Draw Something, if you're obviously on the social gaming side, you probably have heard of it before. But this is a very fascinating company, very similar to Angry Birds. So right now, they have over, so if you think about it, AOL, for example, it took them about 9 years to get to 1 million users. It took Facebook 9 months to get to 1 million users. It took Draw Something 9 days to get to 1 million users. Right? Just to show you how powerful mobile can be. The next one is around ROI on the mobile and tablet advertising side is going to increase as a result of the fact that we know where you are, we know your context. We can deliver you personalized, very targeted ads. This is going to be an area where advertisers are going to start to say this is more valuable than targeting people on desktop. And number 10 is around live video. Live video this year, we believe, is going to go mainstream and businesses are going to start to embrace this. So you've all, of course, are very familiar with a lot of the brands that say have a YouTube channel, which is recorded video. static. But I think this year, what we're going to start to see with for example, Google Plus Hangouts, which is a feature we'll be talking about later, we're going to see how we can make it very easy to do, say, group video chat, and actually bring this mainstream. So an actual business can target you, can actually interact with you in a very different way, in a live way. So say, for example, you're ordering something on the phone, you might actually initiate a Hangout to do that. If you are talking to, for example, a business partner, you might use Hangouts instead, in addition to what you've already been using. Number 11 is around HTML5. HTML5, we believe this year, is going to really hit it, and it's going to make it big. HTML5 allows you to have a cross-platform instantiation of your application, and it makes it really easy for you to render a lot of inline audio and video and graphics in a very seamless way across mobile platforms and, of course, across desktop. So we think this year is going to be the year where we see a lot of businesses moving their sites over to HTML5. And then last but not least, hopefully someone from Saudi Arabia is going to be beating Sergey at Angry Birds. So if you actually try that, let's see. We also have, I think, an Angry Birds plush toy here. I think there's a competition for that, right? Later? Okay. Okay. So with that, I want to switch over and give you some demos. Things go well, I'll be able to switch back and forth. So let me just test this device, make sure it's working. Okay, great. Okay, so the first set of demos I want to show you is around Android. So you probably have already seen Android in terms of Ice Cream Sandwich, which is the version 4.0 of our platform. I want to show you some features that you may not have seen before. So I'll switch over now to my Galaxy Nexus. And the first demo I'm going to show you is around how you unlock your phone. So this is a new feature we've launched actually on the Galaxy Nexus devices that are using Ice Cream Sandwich now. It allows you to unlock your phone by just looking at your face. It's called Face Unlock. Pretty easy to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn on the power button on my phone, and I'm just going to look at my phone and see what it does. You see that? So I didn't touch my phone. The only button I pressed was the power button, and all of a sudden my phone unlocks. Very simple, easy to do. Okay. So the next thing I want to show you is around some of the new enhancements we've done for right to left and bidirectional support. And this, of course, specifically is around Arabic. So let's just make sure I have audio. Okay, good. So I'm not going to need this for this part, but I'll need it for a second. So the first demo I'm going to show you, and I think this demo speaks for itself, I'm just going to do it. Let's say I want to go to aljazeera.net. I can just tell that to my phone. Go to aljazeera.net. See that right away? It appears. I don't touch my phone at all. And then if all goes well here, it's going to go to aljazeera.net automatically. What do you think? Is it cool? Okay, so it's going to take a second, it looks like, to load. So we have our mobile person from our vendor here, and he's looking, I'm sure. Okay. And you should be sweating right now. Okay. Because I am. Okay, so next one, I'm going to show you a new feature, Action Translate. So I'm going to launch Google Translate right here, and I've demoed this before. There's a couple things I'll mention quickly. One, there is SMS translation built into Google Translate now, and this allows you, for example, you get an SMS in a different language. With the SMS Translate button here, you can read all your SMS and then translate them into any of the different languages that are supported. A couple of other quick features. I can click on that little pencil here. So if you just look right here, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on that. And now I've switched to something called handwriting mode. So in a lot of cases, you might be too lazy to type. For example, you can just type with your thumb or your index finger. So what I can do now, I can just type by drawing. So let's see if this works. There it is. So I can keep doing this. Today. I have terrible writing. Probably didn't get the first letter. There it is. So you can basically see, even with really terrible writing like that, it actually got there. And this, you're going to see this supported in more and more languages over time. So now I'm going to show you a nice new feature that is available now. And you might have actually seen this, but what has not been demoed before is the ability to, hold on. Okay. Is the ability to actually do something called conversation mode in other languages, especially Arabic. So let's try this. So I'll just need help from Rani here. And so what we're going to do now is, I'm going to give you a demo of how to use, translate, and actually have a conversation with somebody else where you might not actually understand their language. So in this case, Rania is going to be speaking to me in English, and I'm going to answer to her in Arabic. The fact of the matter is, she doesn't understand Arabic, and I don't understand English. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Google Translate as this translator for both of us. So let's see how that's going to work.
Hi, what is your name?
Okay, so at this point it actually has detected the text here. Okay, so it's translated it now. Okay, not bad. Okay. But that's not really the demo, right? So I have to look at my screen, I have to talk to this, and she has to look back. Well, what if we can actually have the phone do all the talking for us?
مرحبا ما هو اسمك؟
Okay. Okay, not bad. Okay, so now I understand what she's asking me. أنا اسمي أحمد حمزاوي. Let's see if we can say it.
My name is Ahmed Hamzawi.
I like how she said that. Okay, let's keep going.
What kind of work do you do?
So we should have a lot of people on the access points here. This is why it's a little bit slower than normal. But we'll wait a second. If not, we're going to try it again. Let's try that once more.
What kind of work do you do?
I guess I don't work. Okay. So, hold on. What we're going to do is we're going to switch off Wi-Fi. Whoops. I'm going to look this direction. Okay? Okay? So he knows. So we'll switch back and let's see if we can do that again. Ready?
What kind of work do you do?
ما نوع العمل الذي ستفعله؟
Okay. Not bad. That was a lot faster. Okay. So now I know what she's asking me. أنا مهندس كمبيوتر في سويسرا.
Games computer engineer in Switzerland.
لا على فكرة, it's predicting actually. It's so smart that it knows. That's what I'm going to be doing later. That's why. It's smarter than I am. You have to love demos. Okay. Okay, so you get the hint. All right, so the next one I will show you now is with search. So let me just set up the phone here. So I'm going to switch basically to a different language. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a search that you can do in Maps. Switch to this, I'll run Maps. Wait for it to appear. Okay, so this is roughly where I am. Okay, now one thing is that what you can do also with Arabic voice on Android is you can use it anywhere within the system itself. You can even actually talk to your phone to do dictation. So if you want to just talk to your phone and read off a whole sentence or an SMS, you can do that with Arabic support now that's built into the platform. So what I want to do, for example, is I have an uncle. He lives in Arar. What I want to do is basically say Arar and see if it can actually navigate me to there from here. Arar. How's that funny? Whoops. No. Okay. Hold on. I will say it again and I'll move the mic away, actually. Okay? 1 sec. Arha. Hey. Okay, wait. That was supposed to work. Wait. Riyadh. Oh, okay, so I should say Riyadh. Okay. Oh, it's always fun. This is why it's an entertainment device, by the way. Okay, so you get the hint. All right. So the next feature I want to show you, and I'm going to switch over to both of my devices right now. I'll just disconnect this. Okay, so let's see. You can see this one. I'm going to unlock this one. Okay, so you basically have these two devices. I've got my Galaxy Nexus and the Nexus S. One thing you can do with your phone, with all devices now that have NFC built into it, is you can transfer information back and forth with NFC. NFC is called near field, or stands for near field communication. It allows you to send small packets of information from device to device. So let's say I'm going to be playing Angry Birds. So I'm just going to go here to Angry Birds. Okay? So I'm playing this game. My friend says, oh, what's this game? I want to get this game. Where did you get it? And whatnot. Well, what you can do now is, so this phone doesn't have Angry Birds on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get that game onto this device here. So I'm going to take this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these phones together and watch what happens. Okay? So if you see what it says now, it says touch to beam. So I'm going to hit this button, and I'm going to show you both of the screens very quickly. So you've seen it actually has gone here. Just hold on. And so what you see is actually there's the game right there. So very quickly I can download that game. So you can do this, for example, with maps. So say you have driving directions on one phone and you want to share this, say, with somebody else. You can just point the phones on top of each other and send that information. You can also do it with contacts, with YouTube videos. So it's very powerful. Okay, let me show you a couple other features on Android, and then we will move on. Switch over. Okay, so there's another one I want to show you. Hold on. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a couple of cool features in the camera application. Okay. So I'm going to launch the camera app. So you probably have seen the fact that you can take, of course, pictures and videos. There's a new one called panoramic mode. So I'm going to click on this panoramic button now. And all I'm going to do is take my phone like this, okay? And I'm just going to pan around the whole audience here. Okay? And hit stop. And there it is. It stitches it automatically. What do you think? Pretty cool? So with that, I'm going to wait for this to render. It's going to stitch all these images together. And then I can send that out. I can post it on Google Plus if I wanted to. So we're going to let that render very quickly. But I'm going to show you a cooler feature. Okay. So I'm going to switch now to video mode. Okay. So in video mode, this is a feature that not a lot of people know about. So right now, I'm actually pointing to you folks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it to me. Okay. So now you can see me on screen. What you can do actually to record a video, you can add some really cool effects I'll show you a couple effects that I like. Let's try big mouth. Hello. Cool, huh? So I'm going to do the rest of the presentation like this. What do you think? So you can actually record, a whole session using that. So you can change big eyes, squeeze, small mouth, and so on and so forth. Okay, cool feature. Let us move on. Switch back. Okay, so I showed you a lot of cool features that you can use on your phone as it relates to voice, but how can we do some of those things as related to voice on your laptop or your desktop? So what I want to show you here is if there's a way to do that. Let me first show you Google.com search. So one thing you'll notice is that there's a new icon that now appears. Have people been noticing this icon that appears now in the search box? Okay, great. So you know what it does, right? So I click on this. This is a test. Say something easy. Okay? And it does a search very quickly, right? So I don't have to touch anything on my phone. I say this is a test and it does something. So what if I can actually do that same thing and I can replicate that on another website? So let's just, for fun, let's look at how Google did. So let's go back here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click here in this text box. And then I'm going to click on Inspect Element. This is going to launch Chrome Developer Tools. So I'm going to launch Chrome Developer Tools. I'm going to look at all this HTML. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong elements. Okay, so this is the HTML that's used to generate this text field. And there's one thing that I want to show you. If you look right here, there's a new tag that's been added in WebKit, which is x-webkit-speech. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can add that to another website and speech enable that website. And you can add this, of course, to any of your own websites. So let's go to Twitter. So what I want to do is I want to see if I can do that same thing that was done on Google.com and replicate that on Twitter. So what I'm going to do is very similar. I'm going to right-click here, click on Inspect Element, and I'm going to see that they've got the simple input text field. Very simple. It's like only 2 attributes. So I'm going to add one element here. So I'm going to say Add Attribute, and I'm just going to say x-webkit-speech. Okay? So I'm going to click on that. There it is. So you're probably thinking, it's a demo, it's HTML, whatever, right? Okay, let's try it. Let's actually click on it and see what it does. We'll do the same one. This is a test. There it is. It's pretty cool. So you can take what I just did and add it to your own website. Okay, let's move on. Let's see. Oh, okay, I'm running over, so I'm going to skip over flight search and hotel finder. I'm going to demo for you a new feature in image search. Let's go to image search. So you've all, of course, have done searches, right? So you obviously know image, video, all the different types of searching you can do. But let's try a search, and maybe I'll show you a feature you might not have seen before. So I was searching for things that happen here in Saudi Arabia, and of course I came across all these people taking their cars and driving on 2 wheels and crazy stuff like that. So what do you call that, right? So I just guessed it was crazy car stunts, right? So I got this, right? And you can see some pictures here that look pretty interesting. So I see like this one here. Let's look at this one. This one right here. Right, so you see, you can't really see there. There's a car on its side, somebody sitting on it, 2 people lying down, and there's a bottle of water between them. Okay, interesting. That's fascinating. Okay, so what if I want to see more pictures like that? So what you can do now is you can just take this picture and just drag it here. Okay, so you can take any picture here in this list. So say I take this picture here, and you can just drag it right on top of here to find images that are similar to that. So what I'll do, I'll take this image, and then I'll drag it here, and then watch what happens. Watch what it says. So we're going to try and understand what the picture is also. And look what it says. I love this when I was doing this demo because I was like, wow, they're going to die when they see it. I did. Okay, so that's a cool feature. Okay, so next I'm going to show you is a new feature that is now supported in Google Maps for Android, which is indoor floor plans. So let me switch over again. Come on. زعلان مني ليه بس. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch Maps. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to do a search for a mall, okay? And so with indoor floor plans, what it allows you to do is when you're using Maps, you can zoom in on a specific location such as an airport or a mall or wherever people have actually generated the actual floor plan for a building. And then you can actually zoom into the building itself and look at that building floor over floor. So I'll show you an example of that. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to go to the Mall of America. That's in Minnesota. Okay, so we're going to do a search for that. Okay, so here it is, right? So I'll just zoom out so you can see it. So there's Mall of America. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in here. You can see there's the mall. So that's interesting, like you normally see. But then something's going to happen when I actually zoom in far enough. You'll notice right away that I'm now seeing the stores inside the mall itself. And a new thing has appeared now. If you look right here, you can see the different floors in the mall itself. So wouldn't it be cool if you're in a mall here, in Jeddah or wherever in Saudi Arabia, and you can actually zoom into the mall itself and figure out not only where you are in that mall, so if you actually are in the mall, you can see where you are physically in relation to the map itself or the floor plan. So what's a typical use case? You're in the mall and you wonder where the bathroom is, right? So what you can do now is you can see it. There's the bathroom on the third or the first floor, right? So you can go around here. I can go, say, to the third floor, and it just updates, and I can see all the various stores on this floor. So this is something you can actually do. You can contribute your own floor plans. So take a look at that and check it out online. So the next one I'm going to show you is helicopter view in Google Maps. So I'm going to switch over. So I'm going to go to Google Maps, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get directions. So I want to say, for example, let's go from Dubai to Jeddah, okay? And I'm going to get directions. Okay? So it tells us it's going to take us a long time to get there, 23 hours, so basically a whole day. Now, what you're going to notice is something that you might not have seen before, and I'll zoom in so you can see it. There's a 3D button here, okay? What this allows you to now do is you can get an aerial perspective of your trip from your actual source to your destination. So what I'll do is I'll click on this, and this is using a Google Earth plugin that you can install. So I'll click on 3D here. I'll close this. Okay. Now, whoops. What you're going to see is this is exactly how my route's going to look. All right? What do you think? Pretty powerful. So all of the buildings, these 3D buildings that you're seeing here, these were contributed using another product of Google called Google SketchUp. So if you want to contribute your own buildings that show up in Google Maps, even in Saudi Arabia, you can do this with Google SketchUp. And so if you're actually doing navigation or doing what I'm showing, whether it's on Android or on your desktop here, you'll be able to see something very similar to this. Okay. Let's go back. Now, just in terms of, so Nelson was talking a lot about innovation and projects that are also experimental. We're not really sure if they're going to launch and so on and so forth. There's one around self-driving cars that I think is really interesting. And this has been a research project that's been ongoing for quite a while now. And this is cars that basically drive themselves. So what I want to show you here is I want to show you a video of something that we've been working on, more in the R&D space. Audio? Okay, I need audio on the laptop, please. I don't have audio. Let's see. So I don't. Can't switch it like this. I think you can hear that. Okay, let's switch one more time just to see. Yeah, there's no audio on screen. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So she's going to request a pickup. So she goes to her laptop and requests to take a golf cart. Golf cart's going to go and pick her up now. She's on his cell phone, it's a different UI. He's going to do the same thing. We're going to request one out of the warehouse here. And she's just wrapping up a meeting. She also needs a pickup. So it sees the car, it waits, and then it continues and it gets on the road now. There he is. He's going to get into the car now. He's going to badge in, but in this case, he's going to override the automatic systems on the car itself. You can see he's not the best of drivers. He's just cutting off the car here. And there's her pickup. You can see in the background now. She gets into hers. And she does the same thing. So she's going to also badge in, put in her destination. She's also going to drive the golf cart on her own. They're all going now to their different destinations. This woman here is very busy, right? You can see she's not even sitting in the right place. She's on her laptop. So they're all going to their various destinations at this point, looking around, looking down. And there you have it. And now those cars are available for other people that want to request them. So what do you think? Yeah. I think it'd be really interesting to see that actually in Saudi Arabia. It'd be really powerful. And with that, thank you very much.